Remember when Mark Zuckerberg changed Facebook's name to Meta and said that we'd all be living our lives in the metaverse? Well, guess what? It's 2025 and Meta just announced another round of layoffs in its Reality Labs division. The company has now burned through over $60 billion on this metaverse dream with nothing to show for it but empty virtual worlds and expensive headsets that nobody wants. Now, meanwhile, Meta's stock took a 35% nosedive from its February peak. After 25 years in tech, I've seen plenty of overhyped tech failures, but this might be the most expensive flop that I've seen in Silicon Valley history. And today I'm going to break down why Zuckerberg keeps doubling down on this losing bet. Let's dive in. Welcome to Startup Hack. I'm Spencer, and here at Startup Hack, we love to train software developers in our licensed coding boot camps, as well as to build custom software solutions for companies. With a decade of executive leadership as a fractional CTO and 25 years in software development, I've mastered transforming tech teams and products. All right, so just a few days ago, Meta announced it's cutting jobs from its Reality Labs division yet again, with teams at Oculus Studio and hardware divisions taking the biggest hit. This comes right as Meta prepares to report its quarterly earnings next week, where we'll see yet another multi-billion-dollar loss from Reality Labs. Since 2019, this division has lost a staggering $45 billion, with losses continuing to mount each quarter. The big question is, why does Zuckerberg keep pouring money into this black hole when the metaverse vision is clearly not materializing as promised? Surprise, nobody wants to work with headsets strapped to their faces. So when Zuckerberg rebranded Facebook to Meta in 2021, he painted grand visions of a virtual world where we'd all socialize, work, and play, essentially a second life in digital form. Now, fast forward to 2025, and this so-called metaverse remains a barren digital wasteland with empty virtual plazas and minimal user engagements despite billions in investments. Now, the Quest headset have been modest success, but nowhere near the mainstream adoption that Meta projected when it bet the company's future on VR and AR technology. Now, according to recent data from IDC Global, shipments of AR and VR headsets plummeted by 67% year over year in Q1 of 2024, showing the market is actually shrinking rather than growing. Meta's market share in VR headsets has collapsed from 62% in late 2023 to just 37% in early 2024, largely due to the competition from Apple's Vision Pro, which was also a failure. Now, as one former Reality Labs employee bluntly put it, with AR and VR, Meta came up with a solution when there never really was a problem. And this is one of the oldest mantras in business: is don't try to fit a technology to a problem. Don't try to fit a problem to a technology. Try to fit the technology or the problem to the technology. You know what I mean. Reality Labs lost a jaw-dropping $5 billion in Q4 of 2024 alone, while generating only $1.1 billion in revenue, meaning that they lose roughly $5 for every $1 they make. Now, I've done some business ventures that haven't done super well, but I don't know that I've persisted on that long, right? Since 2019, the division has accumulated losses exceeding $45 billion, which is roughly equivalent to the entire market cap of companies like Pinterest and Snap combined. Now, in 2023, Reality Labs lost approximately $16 billion, and the losses have continued to grow year after year with no sign of slowing down. Now, I've never seen a company continue to fund a division losing this much money without showing any clear path to profitability. Meta bought the original Oculus VR company for $2 billion in 2014 and has now spent more than 20 times that amount trying to make the technology successful. So despite these massive losses, Mark Zuckerberg recently declared that 2025 will be the pivotal year for the metaverse, though he's been making similar claims since 2021. So the latest round of layoffs announced just days ago primarily affects teams within Oculus Studios, Meta's in-house game division arm for Quest headsets. According to Bloomberg, over 100 employees across Reality Labs were let go, including those working on the VR experiences and hardware operations team. So Meta PR spin claimed that these cuts are meant to, quote, help studios work more efficiently on the future mixed reality experiences, end quote. Now, the corporate speak for, we're hemorrhaging money. These layoffs come after previous cuts in June of last year and a larger 5% reduction in February that affected at least 560 Reality Lab employees. One particular telling detail: employees working on Supernatural, a VR fitness app Meta acquired for over $400 million, were among those cuts, suggesting that even Meta's flagship VR applications aren't performing well. So with Meta's earnings report coming next week, these layoffs appear timed to show investors that they're trying to do cost control in this underperforming division. But is it really enough? I think it's time to put the whole thing to bed, right? Former Reality Lab employees describe a chaotic culture featuring constant reorganizations and leadership changes that have hampered progress. Many top executives in Reality Labs reportedly have little or no experience in AR or VR, yet are making critical decisions about the future of these technologies. As one former executive told Yahoo Finance, decisions are often made based on Zuck's excitement rather than market research or on user needs, leading to frequent changes in direction. So in my 25 years building tech teams, I've learned that this kind of disorganization and lack of clear vision is a recipe for failure, regardless of how much money you throw at a problem. Meta recently restructured the Reality Labs leadership again, with COO Javier Olivian taking over, signaling yet another attempt to align the division more closely with Meta's main businesses. Now, if your company has systems that aren't connected, reach out to us, because here at Startup Hack, our specialty is connecting systems and helping you build AI agents to make your business processing better so that you can work like a well-oiled machine, especially across your systems. Check out startuphack.com/Spencer because we can help you out. Now, despite years of development and tens of billions of dollars in investment, Meta's failed to create a metaverse experience compelling enough for mainstream adoption. Meta's flagship virtual world, Horizon Worlds, has struggled with user attention and engagement, with most users trying it once or twice before banning it. The high cost of VR headsets, even with their budget Quest 3S at about $300, creates a significant barrier to entry compared to free social media platforms. Now, many users report feeling isolation, motion sickness, and physical discomfort when using VR headsets for extended periods. Fundamental issues that Meta hasn't solved that they've said they're going to, but I don't know if we're ever going to really see these be solved by strapping something onto your head. Now, just last year, Meta had significantly lowered its internal user targets for metaverse platforms. Now, I actually own one of the higher end Quest 3s, right? We bought one and I did it because we're going to be building some games against this. So one of the things is that we are starting our own gaming studio. We're working on Blockhack to launch some games, and we wanted to get the Quest and start to build some, have a team that was going to be building some stuff against it. As I looked at the various different platforms, the Quest actually quickly dropped to the bottom of my own list. And I've seen this continuing to plummet, right? Now, the Quest 3 was actually really good. I really liked it. I've actually played with the Apple Vision Pro. That's actually super impressive, but compared to the cost difference, the Quest still ran circles around. I could have bought 4 or 5 of them for the cost of the Vision Pro, and it wasn't that much different. So the Vision is neat, but it's neat. I've played with it a handful of times and I've never used it. My kids play some games with it every once in a while, but most of the time when I'm making them get away from their computer, which they would way prefer 10-1. So Wall Street analysts have increasingly criticized the metaverse investment, with Wedbush analyst Dan Ives calling Reality Labs the black eye of spending at Meta. Even bullish investors like Gene Munster of Deepwater Asset Management has admitted that Reality Labs is a disaster from a financial perspective. So after 25 years in tech, I've witnessed numerous investment cycles, and investor patience typically run out after 3 to 5 years. Meta is now approaching its 7th year and one of the largest black holes of spending I've ever seen. Several major investors have called on Zuckerberg to either drastically reduce Meta Lab spending or spin it off as a separate company and stop dragging down Meta's otherwise profitable business. The growing disconnect between Zuckerberg's unwavering metaverse faith and the reality of the market is creating tension that I think is going to really come to a head in 2025. Now, Zuckerberg continues to invest in the metaverse. Meta has rapidly pivoted its focus towards artificial intelligence. During Meta's latest earning calls, the word AI was mentioned 23 times, while metaverse was referenced just 7 times. And this is a telling sign of the company's shift in priority. Meta recently announced it will invest $60 to $65 billion in AI infrastructure in 2025 alone, showing where the company's real focus really lies despite the metaverse rhetoric. Now, I've seen successful companies follow the money, and right now AI is delivering results while the metaverse continues to drain resources. Now, if your company has systems that aren't connected, reach out because we'd love to help. Here at Startup Hack, our specialty is connecting system so that your company works really well and you don't have to do a lot of swivel chair data. So hit us up at startuphack.com/Spencer. Also, one of the best things I can get is to leave your comments down below because that's one of the best compliments I can get for these videos. Now, Zuckerberg consistently defends the massive Reality Labs loss by calling the metaverse a long-term bet. I just made a video, and so make sure you check out my channel. Make sure you like and subscribe. But I made a video about what long-term bets really work. This is a bad one, right? But he's saying it could take a decade or more to materialize. Now, while long-term thinking can be admirable, This is the difference between patience, investment, and stubborn persistence in the face of mounting evidence of failure. I've found that truly successful long-term projects still show some promising early signs, something the metaverse has failed to deliver. Even if the metaverse does eventually become successful many years from now, it's questionable whether Meta's current approach will be one that will win, or if they'll ever be able to make back the money that they've lost on this. Now, Meta CFO Susan Lee has warned investors that Reality Lab losses will increase meaningfully in 2025, suggesting there's no end in sight to the financial drain. At some point, even the patient investors must question whether these billions could have been better allocated elsewhere, especially as Meta faces fierce competition as its core social media business and government scrutiny. Now, Meta's Quest headset remains bulky and uncomfortable for extended use, and this is a problem with all of their things. Now, unlike smartphones that quickly became essential tools that we use constantly, VR headsets remains niche gadgets that most people only use occasionally at best. Meta's more ambitious AR glass project, which would overlay digital information in the real world, remains years away from consumer-ready products despite billions in investment. The Ray-Ban Meta smart glasses have found a modest audience, but they're essentially fancy camera glasses with limited AR functionality. And it's not the revolutionary device that Meta promises. So the hardware limitations create a chicken and egg problem. Without widespread headset adoption, there's little incentive for developers to create compelling content. But without compelling content, consumers won't buy the headset. And that's what my kids say. They just say, Dad, there's nothing on there. Like, we could play with it. And I actually have used it. Every time I've used it, I've actually put it on to watch TV, which is kind of silly because I have a good TV. Apple entered the mixed reality market with its Vision Pro headset, immediately positioning it as a premium alternative to Meta's offering, and it had a $3,500 price tag. While the Meta Vision Pro has seen limited adoption to its high cost, it did capture much of the high-end market. But Microsoft continues to develop its HoloLens technology for enterprise use, finding success in business application where Meta has struggled to gain traction. Now, Meta's recent move to partner with third-party hardware companies to create VR headsets seems like an admission that they can't win the hardware battle alone. Now, after years of development, Meta still hasn't articulated a clear business model and how they're going to move forward to remake this money. But despite all evidence pointing to the metaverse being a costly mistake, Zuckerberg's personal commitment to the vision appears to be the main reason Meta continues to pursue it. Having renamed the entire company and staked his legacy on Metaverse, Zuckerberg faces a significant loss of face if he were to publicly acknowledge the project's failure. Former Reality Labs employees describe a culture where questioning the metaverse vision or suggesting strategic pivots is discouraged, leading to groupthink and continued investment despite poor results. So while visionary leaders can be valuable, the best tech leaders know when to admit mistakes and when to throw in the towel. And at this point, Meta's continued investment in the metaverse appears more about saving face than about making sound business decisions. But I'd be curious to hear what you think. Do you guys see some future vision for it that I'm missing? But I'd be curious to hear what shareholders think. I personally am not a huge shareholder in Meta. Never, this being one of them. I've kind of always struggled. I know it's a profitable business, but I've kind of always struggled with some of Zuckerberg's far out beliefs. Now, what do you think? Do you agree? Do you disagree? I'd love to have a great conversation. So make sure you like and subscribe and leave me a comment down below because that's the best compliment you can give me for my videos. I actually answer all those comments personally. Here at Startup Hack, we love to build custom software solutions for companies as well as develop to help software developers get trained in our licensed coding boot camps. So check out the information I've got here for you so that we can help your company out today, especially if you're looking to build some awesome AI agents.
Hi, my name is Spencer Thomason, and I'm a fractional CTO. With over a decade of executive leadership and a solid 25 years in software development, I've mastered the art of transforming technology teams and products. So what is a fractional CTO? This is where you can contract someone like myself to come into your organization and get the benefits of a seasoned CTO without having to employ me full time. In today's fast-paced world, efficiency, security, and product scaling aren't just goals, they're necessities. My passion is building impactful products and enhancing organizational efficiencies through technology. From startups to small businesses, my approach leverages lean methodologies to not just meet but exceed your strategic goals. Whether it's through executive mentoring, cloud system architecture, or launching a minimum viable product swiftly, my aim is to make a significant impact right from the start. Recognized in the Arizona startup ecosystem, my journey has been about creating value and fostering innovation. I have led technology for companies like GoDaddy, SRP, and Wells Fargo and turned challenges into milestones. I've taken this learning and launched 7 of my own brands, and now I want to help you. So if you're looking for a fractional CTO who brings a wealth of experience, strategic vision, and a proven track record, let's connect. Together we can build technology that not only drives your business forward, but also makes a difference. Technology leadership redefined to fit your needs. So reach out today.